Mental Monsters, it's Stephanie, aka the Pink Shadow Ninja, and welcome to another video. And today, I'm doing something a little different. Now, guys, a little side note, I've put Ninjago on hold. You've probably noticed this by the lack of videos. It's on a hiatus at the moment. I hope that's the right word, but I've just really been into doing my comic dub and doing stuff for her. Because she's my own character, and I'm getting a lot of voice actors, and I'm hoping to work on the pilot for Christmas, and my uncle and my mother and all my family are being in it. So yeah, I'm taking a little bit of a break with Ninjago. I know I haven't done anything Ninjago in a while, but really I've been more focused on Zora and her story, and yeah, based on all the art videos that you guys have seen. But today's video isn't about that. So this is a bit like my Harumi AU, and I noticed that I tell the stories to myself how I want certain universes to go, and I really want to share these stories with people, but the problem is I'm not a very big creator. I'm not like Jaden Animations, where I do animations and stuff like that, but I could still technically tell the story like that, just without the animations. So I figured this would be a bit like how I explain my Harumi AU. And if you guys have seen Warrior Cats, you'll see people have done similar things to explain AUs they've had for like Warrior Cats and all that. But this is going to be a little bit of the full story of what happens in my Sonic universe that I've named Sonic's Kingdom. And I'll explain in a minute why it's called Sonic's Kingdom. But this is basically, I think I'll do this into separate parts. So like the first part will be Sonic's parents meeting, him being born, all that sort of stuff. And then other parts will be like what happens on his adventures, all that sort of stuff. So this is part 1. If you guys like it and you want to see more and where this universe goes, there's like infinite universes, and this just happens to be the one that's my universe. So like everything that happens in this universe, guys, there are couples that I really like, and like Sonia and Mighty, I really like them. They only get together in my universe. If you have a universe where Mighty gets with Honey, that's completely fine. Okay, I'm not gonna just don't go in the description and say Sonia and Mighty are weird, just stuff like that. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. It started when Alenna was just the princess of Mobius, attending another ball for possible suitors. Her mother was determined to get her daughter married and on the throne, but that wasn't why the current queen, Queen Magan, kept throwing fancy parties after fancy parties. Alenna knew she wanted grandkids, and it made her so angry. But on the 12th party, something unexpected happened. She was avoiding the drinks that kept getting handed to her. Over and over she said, "No thank you," to waiters and other princes. Then she stopped, running into someone from behind. A dark blue hedgehog she did not recognize. He had vibrant blue eyes and had a single tick in his ear. David was his name, and to Alenna's surprise, he wasn't like the rest. She apologized to him, and he simply smiled with a simple reply, "No problem." And instead of bothering her, as every prince had tried to do, he walked away. Alenna saw him again when she fled. The princes tried to ask her to marry, saying they would take care of her and promise her anything she could ever want. In the chaos, she went out into the garden and ran into the maze. She came across the Mobian she met in the center. He sat on the arm of the statue of the first king of Mobius. He stared up, watching the stars. To her surprise, he didn't like parties either, and it was getting so cramped he had to come out to get some air and watch the stars. Alenna sat with him, and they talked. Hours passed, still talking. Soon the castle started to empty, unknown to the two hedgehogs. They kept talking. Soon David left, thanking her for the oh-so-entertaining party. Alenna guessed he was being sarcastic, but the look on his face after he left told her maybe he didn't enjoy her mother's party, but maybe he enjoyed Alenna's company. Word seemed to go around about the princess's change in mood. Before, she seemed bored, uninterested as her mother planned the next big ball. But now she seemed excited, eager for the next party to come. Megan guessed maybe her daughter found a prince to marry, and ordered guards to keep a close eye out to see who it might be. The next party came. David came, and even with the whole castle watching, she slipped out unnoticed, and David and Alenna talked again. This carried on for at least 5 more parties, each learning more and more about each other, like David learning that Alenna liked to play piano, and Alenna learning that David had a brother called Chuck, that she even got to meet. And soon, they decided to show themselves at the next arranged ball. The crowd went silent as they approached Megan and the king. Alenna held her best friend's hand as she spoke. "Mother, father, this is my friend David." Of course, the queen started preparations for the wedding right away after Alenna introduced her friend that she had grown attached to. And the surprises kept coming when David, in front of Alenna and her family, was given the title Guardian of the Medallions. David had told her about them. 3 powerful medallions created to protect Mobius. They could transform into 2 different forms, instruments and weapons. It was such an honor that David was chosen by his father, as he wasn't the oldest, and usually it was them that took the privilege. But with David's recent betrothal, and his brother Chuck not wanting the responsibility, the honor was all but his. And as time went on, soon David and Alenna married. The former king and queen retired, and the 2 new rulers ruled together for many years. But hard times came when Robotnik took over. Mobius fell into ruin. At this time, Alenna was pregnant, due to have their first son any day now. But one of the men had mentioned that the enemy was advancing, that they had taken out defenses that had held them back for so long. David knew he had to help as king, so he left, and he never returned. Alenna was broken-hearted when she received the telegram, killed in action, and she felt very ill, and things got worse when on the same night, her water broke and she went into labor. It was a difficult birth, especially when the 1 kid she was supposed to have turned into 3. With her heart broken over losing David and her sudden illness, the birth went on for almost a full night. Soon, she held 3 hedgehog children in her arms. The youngest was manic. It was strange to see this boy with such vibrant green quills. No one in hers or David's family had the color of quills that this child had. But Alenna didn't overlook it, and she definitely didn't overlook his handsome amber eyes, which Alenna's mother Megan had. Second was Sonia. She was a mix of herself and Queen Megan, and Alenna smiled seeing David's blue eyes passed on to her. And finally the firstborn, the one destined to be king, Sonic. She had given that name to David. It meant speed. It was a nickname to poke fun at the hedgehog always running around and racing to do things at such high speeds. She was sure Chuck gave him the name too. Alenna smiled as Sonic grabbed her fingers. He was so much like him. He had his blue quills, which were lighter and more vibrant. He was almost a spitting image. But as Alenna celebrated the birth of her children, the signs of 3 stars appearing in the sky of their colors, and the sudden arrival of her old friend, the Oracle, Alenna's heart was broken again. After gifting her children their father's medallions and handing them to new families, Alenna watched her children grow from the shadows, watching them reunite and work together, determined to find their mother and stop Robotnik. The adventures carried on for what felt like eons. But soon, the children and Alenna soon reunited, and with the help of Sonic's team, the Freedom Fighters, the final battle was set to finally stop Robotnik. And it worked, but at a cost. And there is part 1 finished, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This idea has been in my head for quite a while. I had this story planned out. I had David, I had him going to war and not coming back all in my head and all that sort of stuff. If you did like it, please sure to let me know. I'll be doing more episodes. Next episode, you guys are going to find out what the cost is, what happened, and all that sort of stuff. Now, I think this pretty much explained why this AU is called Sonic's Kingdom. It's basically because in this AU, I see Sonic's real parents as the ones he had in Sonic Underground, which means he's a prince. So, yeah, and of course, he's the oldest, so he's destined to be king, and he does become king in my AU, hence Sonic's Kingdom. But you'll find out what happens afterwards. So, that being said, thank you so much for watching, Elemental Masters. Be sure to tell me down below what your favorite part was, like what bit you thought like was sad or something. You know, just if you it's just parts you liked, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching, Elemental Masters, and I'll see you all in the next video. Ninja, go!